Welcome to Beyond the Needle, the Aesthetics Business Podcast. I'm your host, Emily Ruse. I'm a former clinic manager turned digital marketing freelancer, and I've had the privilege of helping dozens of aesthetic practitioners across the UK and beyond grow their business. So I know firsthand just how challenging it can be to build a successful aesthetics practice in today's competitive market. Each week, I'm here to share real, actionable strategies and bring on expert guests to help you level up, attract more patients, and build a standout brand. Let's turn your passion into a thriving business together. Hi everyone, and welcome to today's episode where we're diving deep into the most common social media mistakes that aesthetic practitioners make, and more importantly, how you can avoid them. So when I look at aesthetic practitioners' social media feeds, or what they're doing typically on Instagram, because that is the most used platform by aesthetic practitioners when it comes to marketing their business on social media, there are a few common mistakes that I see time and time again come up. And I think there are a lot of myths and misconceptions about how to use social media, or hacks that other experts, and I say that in inverted commas, but have put out on social media that people kind of buy into and think they need to be doing, when actually, in some cases it's probably doing more harm than good to your strategy. So today I'm going to dive into some of those, and I'm going to help hopefully reduce that overwhelm that you might be feeling about social media, to help you take a more informed, strategic approach. So whether you're running a busy medical aesthetics clinic or you're just starting out, hopefully these tips will help you elevate your social media game and build a strategy that attracts and converts the right audience. So I think the first thing that I really want you to understand, and I spoke about this in a previous episode as well, but I'm really, really, really passionate about sharing this message. And I think a lot of people put way too much of their time and energy and focus into this. And that is focusing on your follower numbers too much instead of building a community. And when I say community, I mean an engaged audience of people who are following you because they genuinely care about your message, what you have to say, they're interested in the content that you're putting out, and they are potential patients, they're potential clients. They're following you with the intent of perhaps buying from you one day. And I think that is so important because it's very easy to get sucked into the vanity metrics. And I think a lot of people make that mistake, especially when they first start their accounts, or perhaps they start an account for their aesthetics practice and it doesn't grow as quickly as they want it to. They're not getting the kind of engagement that they want to be getting, or the eyes on their content they want to be getting quick as they want to be getting it. And it is a journey. Nothing's going to happen overnight when it comes to organic social media. And because they're not seeing that follower growth and they're not seeing that engagement that they want to be seeing, they buy into things like follower pods, engagement pods. You might have seen those posts that go around that say, let's build a community, everyone comment here and follow each other. And then people go in and they follow other people within that thread and they comment to get other people to follow them. And while that might get you followers, are they the right followers? Probably not. Why would you want thousands of people following you who aren't your target audience? They aren't the people who you're trying to attract into your business. They're not likely to engage with your content because they're not interested in what you have to say, and they're never going to buy from you. So you may as well just not be doing social media at all, because all of your efforts and your hard work that you're putting into it are just going to go to waste because they're not going to be seen by the right people. And this is where it becomes so problematic. And I think a lot of people don't understand why buying followers, engaging in engagement pods, or engaging with these AI tools and buying into these AI tools. There's so many cropping up at the moment. It's another common thing I'm hearing from people, that they've bought into these AI tools that kind of promise to get you real, genuine followers who are your target audience, but they never are. So then again, you end up with a load of people that they might not necessarily be fake accounts, but they're certainly not accounts that are going to be real customers if you're having to get them in a non-organic way. And I think people don't realise how detrimental buying into these things is for their account, because they don't understand the complexities of the algorithms that are working behind the scenes. So if you have 1,000 people who are following you, who you have gotten from, engagement pods or follower pods or, AI tools that have promised to get you real, genuine followers, and those 1,000 accounts that you have following you aren't your target audience, aren't interested in what you have to say, aren't engaging with you, when you post a piece of content, that piece of content is shown to a percentage of your followers first on their home feeds. If those people who it is shown to don't don't engage, don't stop and read it, don't save it, don't, do anything, they just scroll past or they don't interact with it at all, the algorithm deems that piece of content as, a rubbish, invaluable piece of content. It's not, people aren't interested in it, they're scrolling past, they're not taking the time to look at it, they're not taking the time to engage with it, and therefore it's not going to show it to anyone else, it's not going to show it to more of your followers, it's not going to put it on the explore page, it's not going to put it as suggested content on people's home feeds who don't already follow you. It's just not going to be seen by anybody. So therefore you are wasting your time. And as you will know, it does take a lot of time and effort to create content and put content out there. So when you do that, you want it to be seen by as many people and as many of the right people as possible. So this is probably the biggest mistake that I see, hands down, is focusing too much on followers and getting too hung up on those vanity metrics and letting that get into your head so much that you do things that are detrimental to your account at the end of the day. And I've worked with people who have done these things before, who have bought into followers, who have bought into engagement pods, and the engagement they get is just rubbish. And a lot of the time I work with somebody who had done that on their account because it's just, we're not going to be able to get anywhere with it organically unless they go through and they remove all of those accounts from their follower list, or they start a new account, which is heartbreaking when you've put a lot of effort, time and effort into the content that's on your existing account already. So the number of followers that you have really is one of the least important metrics that you should be focusing on. I'm not saying that followers aren't important. Obviously, you want your content to be being seen by people, but you want it to be being seen by the right people. But having a smaller, engaged and targeted audience is far more valuable than thousands of followers who don't care about your content, don't engage, and will never ever book an appointment with you. So instead of chasing those follower numbers, because you don't need to have lots and lots of followers to have a successful social media account, to have consistent leads and inquiries coming into your business. You don't need thousands of followers for that. I have spoken about it on a previous episode, and I said, I've worked with people who have 1,000 followers, 2,000 followers, and they're busy, they're fully booked weeks in advance. They get leads and inquiries consistently from their Instagram. They don't have 10,000 followers, but they are busy. And then I've worked with people on the other side of that who have 10,000 followers, have 20,000 followers, and they have gaps in their diary. You don't need to have 10,000 followers to be fully booked. So instead of chasing numbers, focus on creating a strong sense of community, and your follower growth will grow naturally on the back of that, and it will grow in a nice, steady, organic way with the right kinds of people. So engage meaningfully, reply to comments, answer DMs, create opportunities for conversation through, stories that you're putting up, maybe add engagement stickers like polls and Q&A stickers to encourage people to ask you questions, ask questions in your call to actions to encourage people to comment. Just go out of your way to create a kind of community feel on your page. If you're giving really great value within your content, you are going to naturally start to attract the right kinds of people to your page. And make sure you're also going out and doing that engagement in other places as well. So it's not all about the people who are engaging with you, but make sure you're going out and engaging in places where your target audience is present, with other businesses or bloggers or people in your local area who have a similar target audience to you, and actually leave real meaningful comments on their posts to spark conversation. And you'll start to notice that more of those people start to come over to your page, engage back, perhaps follow you, and over time you'll start to create a nice engaged following of people who are the right kinds of people that you want to be attracting into your clinic and genuinely care about what you have to say. And be consistent. So post regularly so your audience knows when to expect content from you and they stick around because you're an account that consistently gives them value and you're going to be showing up, multiple times a week and delivering interesting content in some form or another. And add value. Share educational posts or tips or personal insights that your ideal patient will find helpful. So, for example, if your target audience are new mums or maybe women in their 30s who have recently given birth or have toddlers or busy lifestyles, they're working a lot, sharing content that those kinds of people might find helpful. So 3 easy ways to take care of your skin even when you have no time, 3 quick and easy treatments that they can find in clinic that will help them to look brighter and fresher without lots of downtime. Or if your audience are people over 40, explaining how you keep people looking natural when they're looking to kind of target those more pronounced signs of aging, or they're looking to invest in fillers for the first time. Sharing how those treatments can restore natural volume without them looking overdone, or the skincare ingredients that they need to be using to take care of their skin from home. Over time, this approach will build trust, loyalty, and a community of people who genuinely like and value you. And that's what will translate into real business results. So another common mistake that I see really often when I look at people's accounts, when I look at aesthetic practitioners' accounts, or I audit their accounts, is essentially using their social media pages as kind of like a bulletin board for announcements, new treatments, sales-based content that just talks about the benefits of treatments and that kind of thing. But that is not what your social media is for, or it's not how you should be using it if you want to get results. So content that is essentially just selling all of the time is never going to land and resonate with anybody. It's never going to help, because when we think of social media, we need to think of the buyer's journey that people go through before they make an appointment. So it's very unlikely that somebody is going to come across your social media, your Instagram page, and immediately book an appointment with you. Normally people have to go through a process from the awareness stage right through to the buyer's journey before they are ready to make that decision. There is a lot of work that needs to be done in between finding you and buying from you. You cannot just skip all of those stages and go straight to the buyer's part of the journey. You know, you have to be thinking that there are probably a lot of other clinics and practitioners in your local area that people could be going to. So you have to find a way to set yourself apart from the competition. There are just a lot of barriers to purchase that need to be addressed. And it's also a process of building trust and building that likability factor with the people who are following you. So you need to make sure that you are creating content for those different stages of the buyer's journey. So you need to be creating content for people who have never heard of you before to help get in front of those people. So a really basic example of this is short reels, kind of under 20 seconds, because reels in general are a great way to get in front of new people. Instagram is still really pushing reels, and I want to say prioritizing reels, but carousel posts are also doing brilliantly at the moment. But of course, Instagram are competing with TikTok. There are a lot of people going over to TikTok and consuming video content over there. So therefore, Instagram is competing with that and prioritizing reels for a lot of people. So that's still a great way to get in front of new people who have never heard of you before. People scrolling through their reels feed on the Instagram app, and you're more likely to come up there than a lot of other places within the app, like the explore page or a suggested content on people's home feeds. So creating reels content is a great place to get new eyeballs on your content and on your page, but we want to be thinking about kind of short 20-second reels that are going to be easier for people to consume who have never heard of you before and are less likely to stick around and listen to a 1 minute 90-second video of you talking. So awareness-based content is key, and this isn't about selling, it's not about promoting treatments, it's about delivering value to people and helping solve the problems that they have, so that they see you as an expert, someone to follow, because you're going to help them overcome certain pain points and problems that they're dealing with. So that content draws them in, gets to see you as a valuable person to follow, and then they follow you and they stick around to see future pieces of content. So as well as your awareness-based content, you want to be creating content that nurtures your target audience, that's going to help take them through that buyer's journey further. So that's going to be content that maybe goes a little bit deeper into the particular concerns or pain points that they have and talks about how you can overcome those concerns. So maybe carousel posts, you can go a little bit deeper into those problems and those different ways that you might approach them. Talking reels, where you might be talking about a particular treatment or problem or addressing a myth or a barrier to purchase, and you can go much deeper into that topic than you typically can in a shorter 15-second reel. And within that nurture content, you want to be making sure that you are talking more about the solutions that you provide for people, and talking about, you know, the downtime, what to expect, the myths and misconceptions that people might buy into about those treatments, and addressing things that might be holding people back, like that fear of looking overdone. So talking about how you keep people safe, or how you keep people looking like themselves, or why you invest in the best products for your patients. You might talk about your own treatment journey so that people relate and resonate with you, and that will help to kind of build that rapport with people and get them to trust you on an even deeper level when they see that this is the kind of thing that you do as well. This is your journey and they can relate to it in some way. And then, of course, you have your promotional content, but your promotional content should only be one part of the content that you put out there. It shouldn't be the only part of your content strategy, because that's not going to attract people in, that's not going to nurture them, that's not going to help them overcome those barriers to purchase. It's just going to switch people off and they're going to scroll past. But that promotional content is important, it just is about finding the right balance. And when it comes to promotional content, you still want to make it interesting for people to consume. You want to make it relevant to people and you want to make it resonate with them. So it might be before and after photos, but within those before and after photo captions, you might tell a bit of a story about that patient and why they came to see you and the kinds of problems they were having and the kind of language they used. So had they woken up and felt like they'd, you know, their skin had aged 10 years overnight, or they were going through menopause and suddenly the aging process had caught up with them and they really weren't feeling like themselves, it was affecting their confidence, you know, talk about all these emotive factors within your captions, because those are things that other people who are considering treatments are going to relate to. And then they're going to see how investing in treatments with you has helped this person who is just like them, who once had the same concerns as them, has transformed with working with you, not just in their appearance, but also in their confidence and how they're feeling. So tell a bit of a story. Don't just put a before and after photo out there and put, you know, full face rejuvenation with fillers and non-surgical skin tightening. These are the results. You know, you want to tell a story. You want to make it engaging. You want to make people stop and read and resonate with what you're saying. And as well, that's going to help them be able to see themselves in that person's shoes and see what it's really, really like to work with you. So that's a really powerful way of selling. And there's other ways you can deliver those before and after photos, you know, having a green screen behind you in a reel and talking about what you did, why this patient came to see you, what your approach was, how it's helped them feel. And even if you can, and I know this is really difficult, and a lot of people say to me that, you know, they find even getting before and after photos difficult, but if you can, you've had a patient who has had a really exceptional result, they're really, really delighted, they absolutely love you, and they would do anything for you now because they are just so thrilled with their results. Get them on camera talking about their experience, talking about why they first came to see you, what their problems were, and how working with you has transformed their lives, how it has impacted their everyday life and how it has helped them overcome those concerns. Because getting those words on camera from another patient is really, really powerful. And again, is something that people are going to be able to resonate with really well. And there is no better promotional piece of content that you can put out there than a patient testimonials camera. Written testimonials are great, but that just takes it to the next level. So if you can, do try and get some face to camera patient testimonials. You could even think about doing case studies or model days to get those testimonials and those before and after photos. But if you can get a real, genuine result where someone has come to you with a particular pain point, a particular concern, maybe it's taken them a long time to build up the courage to actually come in for those treatments, people are going to relate to that so much better. So think about your audience's pain points when you're creating content. Don't just think about the benefits of the treatments that you offer. You need to be thinking about how you can create content that really focuses and hones in on those problems that your audience are struggling with. So what questions are they asking, and what do they really need from you at those different stages of the buyer's journey to help them move on to the next level of their journey? And just create content that kind of speaks to those things, that answers those questions, that teaches them something valuable, and use copy that guides them through the buyer's journey. So for example, for someone that might be considering dermal fillers, you could put a post together like, you know, not sure if filler is right for you. Here are 3 myths about filler debunked, plus what you can actually expect from your treatment. By positioning yourself as the expert who provides solutions, not just products or services that literally all of your other competitors are providing, you will naturally start to attract the right audience. So another really common mistake I see is people putting out content without actually optimizing it properly or considering what types of content or types of things work well on the platform. So for example, putting reels out there without a strong hook at the beginning, without any written text at the beginning. So you might put a reel out there where you're talking about something, but you don't have any written words at the start of that reel that people are going to see when they land on that reel, that they're going to read without even thinking about it, their natural reflex will just be to read it. And that will help them make the decision as to whether they want to stay and watch the rest of the reel, or whether they want to scroll on because it's not something that interests them. But if you don't have any text there at all, you're relying on people to wait and listen to what you're talking about to understand what this video is about and whether they actually want to stick around and listen to it. And we have to remember when we're putting content out there that there are millions of pieces of content being put on the internet every single day. People are scrolling and being thrown content left, right, and centre from other people. It is a big ask to get people to land on your content and actually stick around and consume it, whether that's watching what your video is and listening to what you have to say, or stopping and reading a carousel post, or stopping and reading a caption that goes with a photo. It is a big ask to get people to do that. There is so much competition out there when it comes to content, so much content for people to consume. You have to give people a reason instantly. People make that decision within a snap second whether they want to stay and read, listen, watch your content. If you're not giving people good enough reason to do that, they will just scroll on past and consume the next piece of content that does effectively get them to stop scrolling. So the hooks are, this is just one example of optimizing your content for success, but hooks are so important, and that's something that I see a lot of people miss. So you want to make sure that when you're putting a reel out there, it has some sort of hook at the beginning that you say out loud if it's a talking video, but also that you have written on the front of the video and make it very clear so that people can read it, and then that can disappear after a few seconds. But just something to grab your audience's attention and get them to stop scrolling. So we have to think that we're not just putting content out there because we like it and we're passionate about it. Of course, I want you to create content that you're passionate about and that I want you to enjoy creating content, but it's not just about posting whatever comes to mind, and it's about delivering that content in a way that grabs attention, keeps people watching, and then encourages them to take action at the end of it. So a few examples of strong hooks that you could include within your videos or your content. Here are the biggest skincare mistakes I see people make after 40. Or a patient said something today that completely shifted the way I think about X. Or don't waste your time on these anti-aging treatments. These are the top 3 things to consider instead. You need to think about how you can draw people in and get them to stick around and listen. So you might want to create a piece of content about a certain topic, but it's just thinking about how you can best optimize that so it will form in the best way and be seen by the most people and consumed by the most people. You want to keep your content kind of short and snappy so people don't have time. Like I say, we're competing with a lot of content when we put things out there. There's a lot of content that people are consuming. It's very rare that someone's going to stick around and listen to a 4 or 5 minute video or read a huge caption. Like I said earlier, there's different reel lengths for different types of people who you're trying to reach within your content, so people at different stages of the buyer's journey. But when it comes to talking videos where you're talking to camera and you're delivering value that way, you kind of want that video to be under 90 seconds. If you can, get it less than that, but 90 seconds is a real maximum that I would recommend. And try and be as concise as possible. You don't need to deliver all of the value in that one video. You know, if you're doing a video about neck aging, for example, and the different ways that you can tackle an aging neck, you don't need to go through every single reason why people might be starting to notice their necks aging or changing, and every single thing that happens as a result of that, and every single treatment that you can offer for that, and every single fact there is to know about that treatment. Just keep it really concise and think about the things that people are going to find most valuable that you can talk about within that video. So start with that strong hook, then go into a bit of an introduction, and that might talk about the different ways summed up that the neck changes with age, and then a little summary of some of the best treatments that you can offer for that, and maybe have a before and after photo pop up if you've got one, or some treatments pop up as you're talking about them to keep it visually engaging. But try and keep it as concise as possible. And think about your visuals as well. So one really common mistake that I see people make is using landscape videos as reels. So your reels should be shot in portrait mode or edited to be in portrait mode if they were shot in landscape. So you fill the entire screen. You know, you have that whole space that you're given by Instagram. When people are scrolling through reels, you want to fill their entire screen, because therefore you are more likely to engage them visually and get them to stop scrolling. You've been given all of that space by Instagram to use, so utilize it. And you also want to make sure that the videos are kind of, the content you're putting out there is clean, it's high quality. You don't want it to be fuzzy or low resolution. Otherwise, again, people are just going to scroll away. We have to think about the fact that we're working with a platform with lots of different algorithms running in the background. So we need to make sure that what we're putting out is designed to work with those algorithms to optimize its chances of being seen. People will so often say to me, you know, I'm posting every day, I'm doing lots of reels, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm putting out photos of me, I'm trying to speak to my target audience, I feel like I'm doing all of the right things, I just don't understand why people aren't engaging with me, I'm not gaining any followers, my reels don't get much reach. And I'll look at their content and I'll see that, okay, they are posting a lot of reels, but those reels aren't that great quality. You know, they might be showing a treatment and the angles aren't great, or it's not got any visual hook at the start, or it's got a filter over the top of it that make the colour a little bit weird and just impacts the quality. There's no captions on their talking videos. The videos are too long. They're not using kind of trending audio. And I say that lightly because trending audio, you know, used to be a great way to go viral. Although again, that isn't something you should be focusing too much on. But, you know, now you're not going to get the same sort of impact by using a trending sound than you would have done 3 years ago. But if you're creating a reel with music over the top, you can increase your chances of getting more reach by using a trending audio, especially an early trending audio that hasn't been picked up too much yet or overused. But, you know, they're just putting content out there that they've whipped up really, really quickly without putting much thought into it, without thinking about how they can optimize it to work optimally with the platform that they're posting it on. And then they wonder why it doesn't do very well. But you can't just expect to be able to throw anything out there and it to do well. You know, again, we're competing with so many other people, with so many other different types of content that people are putting out. There is a certain knack to that content that performs well. Sometimes it is just draw of the luck. And I've had clients whose reels have been picked up and they've reached a lot of people. And it's like, well, that only took 5 minutes to put together. And then you have content that we've put so much effort into, or we've thought that's going to do brilliantly, you know, it's such a good topic or it's such a good video, and it doesn't do as well as you'd expect. Sometimes it really is just like luck of the draw, but you cannot just post anything and expect it to do well. If you scroll through your Reels tab or you scroll through your Explore page and you look at the kind of content that performs well, you will see that there are similarities between the content that does well and the content that doesn't. Or if you go to a page who you admire on Instagram, maybe it's a competitor or, you know, a blogger or someone like that whose content you enjoy, you will see there is a certain way that their content, particularly Reels content, looks that does well. You know, it's clean, it's good quality, it's got a good hook, it draws people in, it's visually engaging. When you optimize your content, you're not just sharing, it's designed to maximize engagement, retention and conversion. And when I say conversion, I mean people coming and following you off the back of it. So make sure that you're doing everything you can to really optimize your content before you're putting it out there. Again, with hashtags, you know, use hashtags. We know, and I've done posts about this on Instagram. Instagram have recently kind of announced that they're phasing out hashtags. They've said they want to put more of a focus on keywords, and they're taking away hashtag follow feeds as of January, I believe. So you will no longer be able to follow hashtags. Hashtags are still relevant. I haven't used any hashtags on my own reels or my clients' reels in about 2 years, maybe a year and a half, 2 years, because there had been rumours for a while that hashtags didn't do anything on reels. So I kind of started testing it a very long time ago. And I noticed that it didn't really make much difference if you added hashtags, how much reach you got. And all of the reels that I saw were doing quite well with my clients didn't have any hashtags on at all. So I just took them away completely. And then shortly after that, Instagram did announce that hashtags didn't make any impact on Reels reach, because Reels kind of have their own algorithm. When you post a Reel, it goes into the Reels feed, which you can access when you're on your Instagram app in that bar at the bottom. When you click the little Reel symbol, you go into that Reels feed where you scroll through and you get Reel after Reel. That's kind of their own algorithm. The Reels that you see when you scroll through will change all of the time based on the kind of content that you're consuming. So if you're consuming with a certain type of content or certain type of topic, or if there's something that's in the news and you're watching a lot of videos about it, you will notice that you start to be shown more and more reels about that topic, because Instagram can see that you're enjoying consuming that type of content, so therefore it starts to show you more of it. And that is really how it decides who is going to see your reels that you put out. It's based on the types of people who are consuming with content that's similar to that. So you don't need to be putting hashtags on your reels necessarily. Like I say, I haven't done it in a long time. When it comes to other types of content, like your carousel posts, your before and after photos, your graphics, photos of youth, anything that's not a reel, yes, still use hashtags, but be strategic about them. Think about the hashtags that are really relevant to that topic or your target audience. Make sure you're using a variety of different hashtags, so some location-based hashtags that target the area that you're trying to reach. So for example, Manchester business, Manchester mums, Manchester lifestyle, Manchester blogger, that kind of thing, but also that are relevant to the topic that you're talking about. And try not to use too many, and experiment with them. Experiment with different hashtags, experiment with different amounts of hashtags, and just see what kind of difference you might notice. For some people, you might not notice any difference using hashtags and not using hashtags. But at the moment, still use them and just test them and experiment with them a little bit. And location tags, make sure you're adding a location tag to all of your content. That is another easy way, just to make sure it's optimized to be seen by people in your local area, and to kind of signal to the algorithm the kinds of people who you're trying to reach with your content, so that it shows it to more of those people. So the next mistake I'm going to talk about is not being clear on how you can help people when crafting your content. So maybe you pick topics that you like to talk about, that you feel confident talking about, or things that you want to say without really thinking about the types of people who you want to consume that, and whether that's actually content that they want to see. Or marketing the what instead of the why. So i.e. marketing what you do and the services that you have to offer and the qualifications that you have and the experience that you have, instead of the transformations you can give people and the way those qualifications and those treatments are going to help people. Because here's the thing, your audience don't care about the names of treatments. They don't care about Profhilo and what Profhilo is and what it does and how it works and what it's made up of and how long it lasts, etc., etc. Yes, that kind of content is important to an extent, but you need to be thinking about what those treatments can do for them. That's what people care about, and how working with you is going to help them. So you need to stop focusing on the tools within your toolkit and start talking about the transformations that they can create. So for example, instead of posting a photo of a microneedling device with loads of benefits about microneedling, use it to tell a story about how microneedling has helped your patient overcome their acne scarring, which is something that they struggled with for many years. They've not felt confident in their skin for many years, and they're getting married next year and they've been worrying about what their skin's going to look like in photos. But now all of a sudden, after 3 or 4 sessions with microneedling and after working with you, their confidence has skyrocketed. And you could have this as a video of microneedling in action with kind of a voiceover over the top and before and after photos. And that is a really powerful piece of content, because when you focus on the transformation behind what you do, you connect emotionally with your audience. And that's what makes people want your services, not the treatment name. People might know that treatments like microneedling are great, but they don't necessarily see themselves in that. Whereas if you can use storytelling techniques to show how microneedling can help them overcome a concern and help them see themselves within that by talking about something that's going to resonate with them, they are going to buy into that so much more effectively. And this kind of leads me on to the next mistake, because I also want to talk about ignoring the power of storytelling. Now, this is one of the most powerful tools that you can use in your clinic's marketing, but it's something that so many practitioners overlook or possibly don't understand because you don't have that marketing knowledge or that mindset. But when you share patient journeys and those stories behind those journeys, or you share your own story about how you got into aesthetics, or you share your own story with your skin, or your own story of becoming a mum and how that impacted your confidence and how XYZ has helped you feel like yourself again, or you share treatments that have helped you age well along the way, or treatments that help you feel like yourself again after going through the menopause. There are so many angles that you can take with this, but when you share those kinds of stories, it creates genuine connections with your audience. And this matters because, like I say, people make decisions based on emotion. So a patient might be really intrigued by your technical skills and the treatments that you offer and the idea of those treatments, but it's the personal connection they feel with you when they can see themselves within that story that you're telling, that patient story or your own story, that is going to make them choose your clinic over somebody else's. So let's look at a few examples of what effective storytelling might look like. So we've already kind of covered patient journeys, so sharing stories of patients who came to you with specific concerns and how you helped them. For example, Sarah had been feeling self-conscious about her deep frown lines for years. She felt like she tried every single skincare product out there, but nothing worked. She felt like she always looked angry even when she wasn't. She didn't like the way she looked in photos. She always avoided the camera. After a thorough consultation, we went down the route of anti-wrinkle injections, fillers, whatever it might be, and we decided that this was the right solution, and this is what her treatment journey looked like. And now her lines have softened and she finally feels like her face reflects how she feels on the inside, happy and relaxed. She's no longer self-conscious in front of the camera. She's no longer worried about what she's going to look like in her son's graduation photos. She feels more confident in her daily life, whatever it might be. Your own journey, so why you got into aesthetics, what's your why, share the passion that drives you to help others, share the things that have helped you in your own aging journey, or struggles that you've gone through yourself in your own aging journey, struggles that you've experienced when you've woken up and you felt like kind of like the menopause or the natural aging process has taken its toll on your skin. Or engage their imagination, so use storytelling to paint a picture of how their life could improve. For example, are you struggling with X, Y, Z? Imagine waking up, looking in the mirror and loving what you see. No more trying to hide dark circles with concealer or avoiding photos because of acne scarring. That's what working with me can help you to achieve. Storytelling creates desire. It's not just about what you do, it's about why it matters and how the things that you do are going to help others. Now, the next mistake that I'm going to cover is not showcasing what makes you unique. So let's talk about standing out. The field of aesthetics is competitive, and the reality is patients have a lot of choices. So why should they choose you? Well, your uniqueness lies in your values, your expertise, and your personality. So you want to share those things within your content and really lean into them to help you stand out and connect with people on a deeper level. So just think about, what do you stand for? So maybe you prioritize natural results, or maybe perhaps you refuse to offer certain trendy treatments because you don't believe they're safe or effective and they don't align with your values and your ethos. Talk about this within your content. It shows integrity and it will help people to trust you. And those types of people who, maybe the more mature client, or the patient in their late 30s who wants to age naturally and take a preventative approach, or that patient in their 40s and 50s who's starting to see more prominent signs of aging, who's thinking about having treatments, but they're worried about looking unnatural, they're worried about things going wrong. When you share content like that talks about why you wouldn't offer certain treatment, that talks about the things in the industry that you disagree with, that talks about the natural results and how you achieve that and things that you wouldn't do, that helps connect with those people and draws them to you because they see you as on their level, because you're exactly what they're looking for in a practitioner and you get the fears that they have and the way they want to look. And it's also therefore going to build trust with those types of people. It's going to help them see you as the go-to expert. And when they're ready to book a treatment, or they're ready to explore more about what treatments can do for them, who do you think they're going to come to you? They're going to come to you because you have stood out to them within your content. And think about what your speciality is, because if you're the go-to expert for natural looking lip enhancements or non-surgical rhinoplasty or skin rejuvenation, maybe you're really passionate about helping people overcome acne or scarring or pigmentation, make that really clear in your content, because that's going to help you stand out from other practitioners in your local area who perhaps focus on anything and everything, all types of concerns and all types of treatments. And your personality. So I think a lot of people, especially if you've come from like an NHS background where, you've been working in hospitals, or maybe you've been a GP, you've always followed very strict kind of processes and protocols within your work. So showing up online can feel weird to start with because you've never had to do that before. But you also don't need to, even though you're a medical professional and you want to be professional and come across as a serious medical practitioner within your content, you can still show your personality. People want to see the person behind the brand. People buy from people. So try and bring some of your personality within your content and show people the other side of you that's not just the serious medical professional creating these transformations for their patients. So maybe you can show parts of your sense of humor within your content, or if you're particularly scientific in your approach, maybe share posts that reflect that. And if you feel more comfortable, you could just show that personality side more within your stories, where maybe you feel a bit more free talking about certain things because it's not going to sit on your grid forever. But really think about how you can incorporate parts of who you are into your content, because that is going to help you stand out from your competitors. And one thing I really recommend practitioners do is share opinion-based content. Don't be afraid to do this. So things like why I don't offer lemon bottle and what I recommend instead, or the one filler myth I really wish would disappear, or 3 things I would never do as an aesthetic practitioner. Sharing your perspectives makes you relatable, makes you trustworthy, and it makes you memorable. People are going to remember those things, and it just shows a different side of you and a different side of your approach, rather than just the educational content about how you can help people overcome certain concerns. It shows more about your beliefs and your practice, and it helps build trust with people a lot more effectively. And the last mistake I'm going to talk about today is focusing too much on before and after photos. And of course, I do think before and after photos are important. I mean, there are some practitioners who have done very well without posting many before and after photos, and they choose not to for various reasons, and that's absolutely fine as well. You have to do what is comfortable for you, but they definitely shouldn't be forming the bulk of your content. So if your feed is dominated by before and after photos, you're missing an opportunity to address your audience's needs, their pain points and their desires, and speaking to them on that deeper level. If your feed is just full of before and after photos, how are they supposed to understand why they should come to you over somebody else who's also posting great before and after photos in your area? It's like going back to what I said earlier about not taking a billboard approach with your Instagram and treating it as kind of just a sales platform and somewhere to promote your treatments all the time. Before and after photos are important for some people, but they are only one part of a much wider content strategy. You should be posting content that educates, that gives value to your audience, that draws them in and positions you as an expert and makes them want to stick around and follow you to learn more. And then content that nurtures those people, and then content that promotes like before and after photos. But it cannot be the bulk of your content. Maybe years ago that would have worked. And I know some practitioners and some clinics did build big pages back in the day with just before and after photos, but Instagram has moved away from that, and we need to be looking at our content a lot more strategically now. If you're just posting before and after photos, you know, your content is going to lack variety. Not everyone is ready to book a treatment. They're still researching, they're learning, they're considering their options. They want to be educated, they want to trust you, they want to learn more about you and who you are and why they should come to you over somebody else. And they focus again on the what and not the why. And people need to have that connection with you before they're going to be ready to book a consultation or take the next step. So I'm not saying don't post them, but definitely make sure you've got the right balance. It's the educational, the valuable content that's going to set you apart as an authority and engage a wider audience by addressing their needs at every stage of the buyer's journey. So just to recap, the key to success on social media as an aesthetic practitioner isn't about gimmicks or quick fixes, but it's about connection, consistency and clarity. Focus on building relationships, telling stories and showcasing what makes you unique in your content, and you'll naturally start to attract the right people. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I really hope that these insights have been helpful, and I hope that they help you show up a lot more strategically. I hope you feel less overwhelmed about your approach to social media and your content now, and I can't wait to hear how you start applying them in your social media strategy. Do message me over on Instagram if you have any questions about anything I've mentioned here, and don't forget to subscribe for more episodes like this. See you next time.